The Flatwoods Monster, one of West Virginia's most popular cryptids. It is also the most elusive creature in Fallout 76, as it is a random encounter that can happen all over the map. There is no fixed location for the Flatwoods Monster to spawn, so finding it is difficult. So difficult that in preparation for making this video, I spent 4 days trying to find the Flatwoods Monster so I could get some footage. Sadly, it was nowhere to be found. So clearly it just did not want to be caught on video. While it can be found anywhere on the map, when it spawns in the forest region, it will typically teleport away without entering into combat. This creature has many names: the Braxton County Monster, the Sutton Monster, the Green Monster, and even Phantom of Flatwoods. But just what makes this creature so popular? To find out, we need to look into the history of this creature. The story begins on September 12, 1952, in the small town of Flatwoods, West Virginia. One night, around 7:15 p.m., several local boys were playing football at a nearby elementary school. They noticed a bright light streak across the sky and over a hill, seeming to touch down on a farm owned by Mr. Bailey Fischer. The boys raced to the home of Kathleen May to report their sighting. The group recruited a few more local boys, including 17-year-old National Guardsman Eugene Lemon and his dog. They headed to the farm to investigate. When they arrived on the scene, they were engulfed in a mist, and there was an overwhelming rotten egg smell in the air so strong that it burned their eyes. They also saw a pulsing red light emitting from a ball-shaped object hovering just above the ground. Eugene's dog growled at something to the left, and when they pointed a flashlight in that direction, they saw a roughly 10-foot-tall creature hovering next to an oak tree. It appeared to be wearing some sort of green armor and a black cowl shaped like a spade. It had a blood-red head, bright glowing red eyes, and two claw-like hands with slim arms. Upon seeing the group, the creature let out a shrill hiss and started to move towards them in a slow, gliding motion. The group, gripped with terror, ran down the hill back to the town. They called the Braxton County Sheriff, Robert Carr. The sheriff was not at his station located in Sutton because he had been called away to investigate a plane crash. By the time Sheriff Carr had made it to Flatwoods, a local newspaperman, A. Stuart Lee, of the Braxton Democrat, was on the scene. Eugene and the group were still visibly shaken, but he worked up the nerve to lead a gun-toting posse back to the scene to investigate. The craft and the creature were gone. All that remained was the odor, some track marks in the grass, and some oily residue, along with bits of a black rubbery substance. Following the incident, the members of the group reported nose and throat swelling and vomiting and convulsions for weeks. The symptoms were said to be from exposure to mustard gas, but the more likely answer was that the symptoms matched with hysteria and overexertion. This was the only explanation doctors could come up with. Since then, the event has conjured up a large cult following that spans the globe. In the town of Flatwoods, there is a museum dedicated to the Flatwoods Monster. This creature has also appeared in a number of games. In Hot Shots Golf 4, it appears next to a tree. In The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, it appears as a ghost that invades the barn on Romani Ranch to abduct the cows. In Space Harrier 2, it is the boss you fight at the end of Stage 2. In Amagon, a game on the NES, it is the final boss of the game. In the Wii U game, The Wonderful 101, it is Gimme. In Tumble Pop, it is the Space World boss. In Wild Arms, it is the Heokenton. The Flatwoods Monster even has an episode in the show Project Blue Book, a series inspired by Dr. J. Allen Hynek's investigations for the U.S. Air Force into the existence of UFOs. The Flatwoods Monster has a surprise following in Japan, which began sometime between the 1960s and the 1980s. As stated, the monster is featured in a number of games produced by Japanese game developers, and there are also figurines that were made as well. The fascination over the Flatwoods Monster is not so surprising, since Japanese culture is fascinated with all manner of strange creatures. For proof of this, we need to look no further than the Godzilla series. Even though this story is very believable, there are explanations for every part of the story that make it seem to have been interpreted incorrectly. The most widely believed explanation is that the light in the sky was just a meteor, and the monster itself was just an owl on a broken tree. However, there is no conclusive proof for either story. What do you think? Is the monster real? Let me know in the comments below. In the Fallout universe, the Flatwoods Monster is thought to be a Zetan alien, as these Zetans have been seen in the Fallout franchise since the first game. In Fallout 1, there is a random encounter where the Vault Dweller finds a crashed spaceship with 2 dead aliens. FYI, this is how you get the alien blaster in Fallout 1. We also see them in Fallout 3, where there is an entire DLC dedicated to the aliens called Mothership Zeta. There are more appearances in New Vegas, Fallout 4, and of course Fallout 76. As a side note, there are more plans for these aliens in the future update for Fallout 76, so stay tuned for that video. In pre-war West Virginia, near the town of Flatwoods, many have claimed to see this monster. One such person was reportedly taken by the monster. This man was Colton Pickens. He claimed to have been taken, experimented on, and returned. We find a holotape recording at Hill Folk Hot Dogs, just across the river from Sunshine Meadows Industrial Farm, west of Flatwoods. This holotape is an interview conducted by local police deputy D.B. Walton.
This is Deputy D.B. Walton. Interview started at 3:35 a.m. All right, Mr. Pickens. Tell me everything that happened by starting from the beginning.
I was out behind my hot dog stand, taking out the trash, and I saw this light shining from the woods. At first, I thought it was a hunter with a flashlight. But then, the light started changing.
Changing? How?
Well, the light started turning different colors. First it was blue, then green, then red, and then back to blue. Wait, maybe it was green, blue, red. No, actually it's red, blue.
Yep, we get it. What happened next?
I suddenly got real dizzy, and I dropped the trash bag I was carrying. Next thing I knew, I was on the ground. I don't even remember falling. I looked up, and that's when I saw it.
Can you be more specific?
It was a man, but it also wasn't a man. It had gray skin and these huge black eyes, and it was wearing like a spacesuit or something. What was really weird was that it wasn't saying anything, but I could hear it anyway. In my mind, it told me to follow it onto its spaceship.
Flatwoods Monster again? All right, I've heard enough. Colton Pickens, I'm arresting you for drunken disorderly conduct and indecent exposure.
Indecent what? What are you talking about? I didn't do anything wrong.
Colton, we found you on the roof of your shack, buck naked, yelling at the top of your lungs. Your blood alcohol was .23. It took 4 deputies to get you into handcuffs. We all go on a bender now and then, but you need to keep it at home.
What? No! Come on! You have to believe me! The monster made me drunk. experimenting on me, controlling my mind. When are you people gonna do something about the Flatwoods Monster? It needs to be killed!
I've had enough. Just get him out of here. This is Deputy D.B. Walton. Interview terminated.
As you can see, just like in the real world, local police didn't believe the encounters with the Flatwoods Monster. However, Colton's story might be true based on what we see the Flatwoods Monster do in-game. It can control nearby creatures. We can see this happen as the creatures will glow, just like the Flatwoods Monster. There was also a radio show that was made based on the monster. A 2-part holotape found in issue number 5 of the Tales from the West Virginia Hills magazine gives us this story. We also find these holotapes in the town of Flatwoods.
Welcome back, dear listeners. It's time once again to put aside all you think you know, all you believe to be true. Time to open your mind to the strange, bizarre, and sometimes terrifying world that exists in the shadows and fringes of our own, where myth, legend, and rumor are made real. Yes, it's time for more thrilling Tales from the West Virginia Hills. Tonight's episode, Who Goes There? The Strange Encounter in Flatwoods, is brought to you by Sugar Bombs, the breakfast cereal with explosive great taste and 100% of the recommended daily allowance of sugar. Get your morning started right with Sugar Bombs. Our tale begins on a fateful night when a young pioneer scout, Fred Fisher, finds himself in quite the predicament, having taken a spill and fallen into a dark place.
Where am I? Jack? Viv? Mr. Bailey? Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Who's there? I can't see you.
Me. My name's Sally. What's yours?
Fred.
Are you okay, Fred?
I think so. My head's a little woozy. Must have hit it when I fell.
Oh, no. Did you get lost, too?
Well, sort of. What I mean is that I was camping with my scout troop by the lake near Flatwoods. There were these lights kind of dancing in the sky.
Neat.
I guess. Anyway, we heard some weird noises and the guy's double dog dared me to go look. So I did.
All by yourself? You're really brave.
Shucks. Thanks. I followed the noises to an entrance of an old mine. It smelled awful there, like rotten eggs, but worse. Suddenly, there was this bright light shining down on me. I was super scared and ran to the mine to hide, but everything felt strange. Like, my feet weren't even touching the ground. Everything went black, and I woke up here in the dark.
That all happened to me, too. We'll just do what my dad says. When you strayed or lost your foot, do what's best and stay put. They said they'd bring him soon.
There are other people here?
A very good question indeed. Tune in next time to find out the answer in the chilling conclusion of Who Goes There? The Strange Encounter in Flatwoods. Tonight, we bring you the final chapter of Who Goes There? The Strange Encounter in Flatwoods. In the last episode, Pioneer Scout Fred Fisher met a curious girl named Sally while hiding in the dark. But, as it turned out, they weren't alone.
There are other people here?
Yeah, they probably just went to get more food. They'll be back soon enough. You can wait with me, and they'll give you food, too. You just have to do what they want.
What do you mean?
When they want to play games with you.
Games? What kind of games?
I'm still learning the rules. Mostly, they're kind of boring, and only hurt when they use the needles.
Needles?
Yeah, you know, like at the doctor.
This doesn't sound like any game I know. It sounds downright awful, and these people sound really bad. We have to get out of here.
No, no. Stay put. Stay put. Stay put. Stay put.
Okay, okay. Stop screaming. Ah, the light. It's so bright.
That's where they come in to bring food, or when it's time to play.
Sally, what's that helmet thing you're wearing? It looks like it's screwed into your head.
Time to play. Time to play.
Sally,
Time
what's wrong?
to
Why are you acting like that?
Time to play.
Oh, I see them now.
Time
Hey,
to
they aren't human at all.
time to
No, stop! Let me go! Sally, help me! I don't want to play! I don't want to play any games! No!
Fred Fisher was found days later, wandering by the river outside Flatwoods. He was disoriented, but unharmed, save for 2 small wounds on each temple. To this day, Fred is convinced his strange encounter was real, and even continues to search high and low for a missing girl named Sally, whom he swears he met. So I leave it to you to decide, dear listeners. Was this simply the wild imagination of a frightened boy lost in the woods? Or was Fred Fisher in fact abducted by brainwashing aliens from outer space? Be sure to tune in next week for another thrilling chapter of Tales from the West Virginia Hills.
As we know, these shows were based on real events, with the names changed to protect the identity of the real people involved. Based on what we know about these aliens, this story is very plausible. Sally, for example, is the young girl we find on Mothership Zeta. Could this be the same Sally from the show? If so, then how is it she is still so young? There are many questions that could be asked, so for now, we'll just continue. We find some more information on the Flatwoods Monster from Shelby O'Rourke's terminal inside the Hunter's Shack. Under the cryptids entry, there is a section for the Flatwoods Monster. Reading this entry: sightings 0. Descriptive traits: alien glowing eyes, may or may not have arms, but arms are strongly suggested. Owl-like helmet with dress-like garment. Often accompanied by bright lights or burning metallic smell. Evidence log: bright light above mountain region. Took photos, but sadly didn't amount to much. Investigated possible site. Some strange burning was present among the trees, but no smell. It may have dissipated overnight. In combat, the Flatwoods Monster will shoot energy beams from its hands and can teleport, making it difficult to stay targeted. As stated, if there are creatures nearby, it will control them and they will aid the monster in battle. There is no limit on the creatures that it can control. This includes all boss enemies and even your own camp defenses. It can also regenerate lost health. You can gain a plus 15% damage boost against the Flatwoods Monster if you use the Tales from the West Virginia Hills issue number 5. While there are many different stories about this monster, one thing remains true. Something about the Flatwoods Monster inspires pop culture, both here in West Virginia and across the globe in Japan. From art to games to toys to many other items, the Flatwoods Monster is just an interesting creature. I think this is what makes it so popular. While we don't know its motivations for being in Appalachia, we do know that there are several reasons for it to be interested. So, what do you think makes the Flatwoods Monster so popular? Let me know in the comments below. We know that more information on the Zayton aliens is on the way with an update later this year, so stay tuned for a video on that. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on more content. Anyway, I'm just glad you stopped by, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.